event was actually put together by Farmers of Thought International in collaboration with Emerging Akebalan and Nations of Mother Earth. So please follow those groups on Instagram, on socials, just follow us. The next event now is going to be the interview. So we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence versus ancestral intelligence. This is going to be a very interesting conversation. So guys, yeah, let's do this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brother Badile. Elder Brother Maponga, a pleasure and honor to see you again today. Saturday was a very informative and inspiring event. Thank you. So, a warm evening to all. Thank you for making the time to come down today to see our beloved Brother Maponga, causing all the right ripples in the conversation about African liberation, sovereignty, and doing for self. Honor is mine to interview him today. I've been given a very big agenda, as it were, but we will do our very best to get through them all as much as we can. So the theme we're talking about today generally, and I think it's a good idea for me to introduce myself. So for those who do not know who I may be, then you have a context. So my name is Dalian. Oh, yeah, it's fine. I think they can hear me. My name is Dalian Adofo. I am co-founder of an organization called Ancestral Voices. We've been going for some 15 years. We specialize in the academic and practical exploration of specifically African sacred cultural systems, ideas, and practices. And we've been going for some 15 years. And we were honored with Brother Maponga. He came, did a show with us on the 29th of September. So for those of you who may have missed that show, you'd like to catch up on that show, you have to go to ancestralvoices.co.uk. Those two words together, ancestral and voices.co.uk. So, Elder Brother Maponga, today's theme is generally concerning two things, because we had adaptations in the title. The first was ancestral intelligence versus artificial intelligence. And then out of that, we also have the same idea, which is ancestral codes versus artificial intelligence. Yes, and Elder Maponga, I'm not really going to try to lead the conversation. I think we should just have a synergy. Because for me, I think it's a good idea to even get an understanding of these words. Because when someone hears the word code, I think one of the first things that come into people's mind is a computer. Yeah. So would you like to elaborate, give us a bit more insight? Is that what we're going to be talking about today? Please, over to you.
Welcome one, welcome all. Little bit, can you just raise it a bit? Welcome one and welcome all. What's so fascinating to me is what colonialism has done to you. You'd rather refer to me as a brother. It's okay. I understand the frame where you're coming from. You're afraid of addressing me as a father, as traditional, as royalty. So brother, you must make me feel like I'm in a church where Brother Maponga, like in an Afrocentric space where, okay, what qualifies you to call me a brother? But you are forgiven.
Thank you very much.
I'm in foreign lands, I will allow that to slide.
And my sincere apologies.
Yes, that's okay. Conversation around intelligence. I'll start off with a very deep cut into the Eurocentric mindset, which has taught us to hate ourselves and appreciate appreciate what is outside of us. When the colonialist comes into the African space, theologically, the African is barbaric. He's not a human being. Only until 1964-65 did they actually agree that Africans are human beings. Before then, we were animals. They even cut one African to find out if they have a soul. So you are not human. Stop acting like the white people have a sorry soft spot for you. You are a mystery to their worldview of the Caucasus Mountains. You are not human. Sarah Batman, a whole woman taken from Cape Town, displayed here in London and in France, looking at her anatomy and her bums and etc. For years, she died in captivity and in torture. And then you see, Africans are barbaric. But look at your Victorian history. In London here, when all their clothes begin to increase the curvature of the African woman, to extend the lower abdomen into what they call the Victorian fashion. Who are they trying to emulate? The African woman. But in Paris, in their fashion, the coat hanger woman is the one that is marketable. But in real life, the broad-based, virtuous, voluminous woman is the real essence of what beauty is all about. So when you begin to talk about these issues of our acceptance into Eurocentric hegemony, they're all founded on disgrace, undermining the meaning of African values, personalities, anatomy, culture, practice, religion, spirituality, which in essence, that's what we are. And I passed a comment once, and I don't think many people understood me when I said, if we believe in God, and God is a problem with the feature of the African woman, the feature of the African man and his complexion, his culture and his practice, then this God you're talking about is not our God. Because how do you create an Indian and Chinese and African when you have a problem with this one? I don't want to hear his music. I don't want to hear his fashion. I don't want to see his women. I don't want to see his culture. And yet we believe that we are working in the same framework. So firstly, I'll start with you, that African, Asian, Indian, American, European, South American cultures need to understand the collage of life on this continent in its totality, from the Mongolians to the Khoisan, from the Aborigines to Peru, that each culture is seeking for spirituality within its own context. And no culture has a right of walking to another culture and imposing its importance and values on another as superior to those that are there. Therefore, the people in Zambezi Basin can talk about Nyami Nyami, the great snake that is the Victoria Falls, as much as the Aborigines can pick a doodle-doo and blow into the desert and speak to the god of the wind. I understand the god of the waters. You understand the god of the wind. I go to the Eskimos, the god of the snow and the ice. I go to the Amazon, the god of the forest. And in this conclusive environment where we tolerate each other, we begin to understand that the manifestation of divinity is not within one geographical location on the universal platform of where we live. But if you think that God is in the desert, I will introduce you to the God that is in the forest. If you think God is in the forest, I will take you to Papua New Guinea. I'll show you the God of the waters and in the oceans. And in the culmination, the conclusion, the interaction, the intersections of various global communities, can we understand hear me well, that God does not have a passport. He does not need to take a passport from Britain to a good state in Edo. He does not need a passport to Ghana, to Zimbabwe, to Lesotho, to Swaziland, to Congo, to the Himba tribes in Namibia, where you can come around with a piece of paper and says, I'm introducing you to God. Spirituality, therefore, is an intrinsic interaction of humanity with the supernatural that is around them. How they interact with nature around them. Three elements, the Trinity, the water, the land, and the air.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much. So, Brother Maponga, I'm going to stop there and apologize again. As you can see, this is the effect of that WhatsApp group. So please don't blame me. Blame those who put me in the WhatsApp group. They've given me the totally wrong appellation. Changambire Mara-Rah Maponga. Of course, as I was addressing you on the show. My apologies again. And let's say, again, this is a code. Yes? So what the elders just showed me there is a code. You don't go anywhere else and you just, as we have some people call their parents by their first names.
Maybe before we go very far.
Please go on.
Can you all put your hands together? No. I'm not British. You wait for my instructions. You put your hands together, you make a sound, you make a sound, you make a sound, you make a sound. 4 times. Let's go together. Those are the 4 ancestors on your father's side, grandparents. The 4 ancestors on your mother's side, maternal side. That gave you your mother, that gave you your father. 4 on the left, 4 on the right. 4 plus 4 equals 2? 2. Don't hurry because you're in my class. 4 plus 4 equals 2? 2. No, but mathematically, 4 plus 4 equals 2? 8. But you have your 4 grandparents that gave you your mother. You have your 4 grandparents that gave you your father. When the 4 tribes, clans came together, they give you the, and when 1 plus 1 equals 2? 1. Wrong again, equals to 1. That's you. So you have 4, 4, 8. That gave you 2. 1 plus 1. That gave you 1. That is you. So when we greet in African spaces, and we go like this, I see you. I see you. When these came in contact with these, they gave me this. That was the door. If there's any woman in our midst, you know what this looks like. That gave me the door into my existence. And I am one. But I recognize those that are here. That has made this possible. This is African understanding of greetings. So when you say put your hands together, it's not just about putting hands together. It's putting tribes together, putting clans together, recognizing our ancestors through which we all have become. So no one here is one totem. All of us here have 8 totems each. 8. The blood that runs in you. 4 from your mother's side, 4 from your father's side, base 2. I wish I had computer literate people here who would understand the algorithms. That from the 8, I have the 2. And from the 2, I have the 1. So what you may call in the Western world here, bipolar, you are psychologically sick. There's no bipolar. It just depends which inclinations in your genealogy is manifesting today. So I've said it once, I'll say it again. In me, I share a bed. Madness and genius, they share a bed. It just depends who wakes up first. And it looks like madness wakes up much earlier than genius. But having said that, you need to understand the manifestations in your physical world, that they are actually a reflection of your genealogical inclination. You have a grandmother who was a healer, you have a grandfather who was a hunter, you have a grandmother who was a potter, you have a grandfather who was a builder, you have a grandmother who was a midwife, you have a grandfather who was a seer, and as you go through life, these intuitive geniuses manifest themselves. One morning, if I could do a psychosomatic or a psychological profile on you as you dress up every morning, one of them is awake, it is alive, but you are not conscious. You are not conscious. Why are you putting on a green dress, a blue dress, a black dress, orange dress, a colorful dress? Why are you feeling like this today and like that tomorrow? Are you sick? But we've allowed the colonial world to interpret our world view as Africans. We are not as normal as they think we are. We are as diverse, as plural, as fluid, as spiritual as what we are. I hope this knowledge will help you to understand yourself. And the more you study your history and know it better, the better you understand yourself and your behavior. Even the relationships, the people that you're interacting with, those people that you deem to be closer to you, and what it is all based on your ancestral DNA that is intrinsically trenched in you. Your career, your love for certain things, your hatred for certain. I don't like this, I don't like this. I love that, I love that. Based on what? Who taught you to love this and hate that? Who taught you to appreciate that and disdain that? We are all wired in the past. We're living in the present.
Shade to that. That's powerful. Let's give Changambire a round of applause. And I think what he said in there brings me back. We've already established the code. I mistakenly broke a code. I'll blame Obadele and Brother Pabena for that. I think we all need some training, Changambire. We are all as
You're in the belly of the beast.
Well, and I think we're doing a pretty good job in resisting some of that. But the second exploration you gave us about your ancestral lineage, what now, Western science might be calling epigenetic memory. I love everything you said, because now it takes us now to explore the word, what does intelligence mean? Because again, in our current understanding is like, oh, maybe you've read 1,000 books, written a PhD, and then now you're intelligent. Yeah? But everything you just said there, and it's just you, because you studied the books.
And I've done that.
Right. So was that just your intelligence? How does the African perspective change our understanding of what intelligence is and can be?
So a young child was living in a village in Ife, Torashanga, or Tongo, in Zambia, goes to school. What year was Hitler born? When did the war of Napoleon begin? Which year did Vasco da Gama cross into India? You collect all the dates. The teacher gives you an examination. Which year did Vasco da Gama? Which year did Napoleon Bonaparte? Which year did Hitler? If you can remember those dates, you're a graduate. Because you can remember birthdays. You can remember dates. You're educated. You can recite William Shakespeare on the summit of the height, where only winds swept and legions grow, boggy led by the burning lights, watches the plains below upon the highest rocky ways, dim lit by the golden streaks of dawn, and hear patient sentinels shout boom to the offended sky. sure that all is well. A whitefish eagle sails along, its mighty pinions humming tune, till dawn throbs with alien songs, till we come back to meet again. Will you go hunt, my lord? Hunt what? Hunt the heart. If music be the food of love, play on, play on. Give me access of it, that suffocating, that may sicken my appetite and so die. When my own eyes saw Olivia first, methought she purged the air of the pestilences. So you memorize this. Dictions of literature, which is the echelon of British culture, the Victorian, the thus. Will you go hunt, my lord? Hunt what? Hunt the heart. You know, and we sit around in classrooms and we argue. No, will you go hunt the heart? The heart is the rabbit. Will you go hunt? Hunting is, and then we say, we are a graduate of English literature, history, and poetry. Is this man really educated? Because you can memorize dates. And by the way, if you cannot remember these dates, you are down. Our educational institution of the colonial West has measured intelligence based on recitation. Here is a young boy in the village who failed to remember the dates of Hitler. Show him a footprint of a lion on the bush. He will tell you how old is this lion and whether it is sick, it is injured, or it is healthy. Show him the cow dung of his cow. He will tell you whether this is a stomach problem, it is sick, or it is healthy. Show him the movement of the clouds. He will show you it will rain in a week from now, or it will not rain. Take him to the river. When he looks at the bird nests that are hanging across the river, he can tell we are in the depth of ancestral intelligence. Please, I'm not going to come back to it because I know you're colonially circumcised. So even when I move away from your normal, you're still going to be waiting. So what did he say about ancestral intelligence? Listen carefully. Take him to the river. He can see that last year the birds made their nests closer to the water. That meant that we had no rain. This year, the nests are further up. There will be lots of rain because the river will flood. A boy who can interpret the positioning of the nests of the birds on the riverbed can tell you the weather pattern. Microclimatology. He can understand looking at nature. Intelligence, therefore, it is not memorization of dates, but interpretation of environment. Ecological intelligence is a doorway to cosmic consciousness.
Give a round of applause.
No, the clapping hands, you don't even know what I'm talking about. Ecological intelligence is the understanding, the knowledge of how your ecology is structured, your environment is structured. Cosmic consciousness is the ability to move this backward, present, and forward, and be able to start making a decision. Consciousness, therefore, says, I know that my ancestors are under the ground. And if they are under the ground, the trees, the grass, the ants, the rabbits, the butterflies that are walking on the ground, they're eating from them. Therefore, when I see them walking around me, I'm not just seeing birds. I'm not just seeing butterflies. I'm not just seeing these, but I'm seeing signals, data signals, impulses of ancestral communication from the past where they are, which is the present with me now. I'm able to see two chickens fighting in my doorstep and tell you that visitors are coming. Now that's some serious shit. Pardon my language. You pardon me for that, yeah? I'm coming from you, I'll go back, but I come back. But if a grand woman can sit in the village and see two chickens fighting, and says, take one of them and kill it, visitors are coming. And I'm not lying to you, before sunset, we will be having visitors here. How do they know that when this and this, I mean, I'm telling you guys, Africans, we had enough time. Time to study even the fighting of chickens and interpret it into intelligence. Now that's not a joke. That's knowledge. Only to walk up to the government and they call that the Witchcraft Act.
Yeah. Wow. Changambire, I think the clapping, maybe I'll speak for everyone else, but if I speak wrongly, please feel free to admonish me. I think it's just the knowledge hits, you know. Look at your faces. Sometimes they're just there like that, you know, and you drop these profound statements, these phrases that I believe hit people. So in order to get them out of the silence, we make noise. And that noise is in veneration of your wisdom. So thank you very much. We're going to move again because you've said so much, and we're going to now start picking. Because clearly, we're not going to find African intelligence only in a book, right? What do you have to say for those of us who, as of now, our ancestral intelligence has been repackaged as superstition? It will surprise you how many African/Black people I meet because of the work I do. Oh, I had this dream, and this dream was this. Okay, let me refer you to someone to go and interpret it. Oh, no. None of that demonic, that witchcraft stuff. So where do we go for those who can't see their ancestral reflections because it's been rebranded as superstitious witchcraft?
I am so glad that the white man cannot put his head around the black man. I'm using that very loosely. Just when they think that they understand the species, it changes into something else. And when they get there, they discover these guys are on the other end. We are a mystery of study because our world is not just physical, our world is cosmical. Our world is anatomy, our world is spiritual, and in the depth of that, our interpretation of our reality is not as platonic and basic. I brought a cow and I gave you and I walked away. No. What is the color of the cow? What does it represent? And why? And who? And etc. And then those layers of interpretation give the African person a whole different perspective. I come to your question.
Oh, you already on the question. Please carry on.
Dig deep into it. The African spiritual person understands 4 dimensions of his existence. Number 1, me, what you see, which is the physical. I don't need to say anything. Just me that I see, you see. Me see, you see. Physical or female. But after you've confirmed what you see, African spirituality says there's more that you cannot see. And in terms of so you may be thinking that you're talking to a man or a woman, but no. I, for example, up to now, I'm going for 60 years now, if not 57, 58. I still don't have a name. My grandfather gave me his name and then put the surname of his grandfather on me. So I still am a mysterious person. I'm still trying to find myself also. I'm looking forward to a day when I'll have a name. I am an unnamed object which is floating amongst you, carrying names of those that have. So Maponga is my grandfather's name. Mara-Rah is his name. Munyoki is his grandfather's name. Changambire is my grandfather's name. Sose is my royal clan name. The other day I woke up in my intellectual gymnasium and I said, so who are you? Because, when I come from the West, you're the individual, me. So who am I in this whole equation? I went to bed very sad, discovering, actually, you are a UFO, and an unidentified floating object. Because up to now, I still don't have something that I can say, this is me, like me. Because everything that I've identified with is those that have come before me. Having said that, we come up to where we begin to interact with objects, with elements that are outside of us while we are still trying to find ourselves. It's painful that the African child in a colonial system, in a Western hegemony, is trying to identify themselves before they can define themselves. Then you're a coconut, brown on the outside, white on the inside. Well, the software of our interpretation is not Afrocentric, but Eurocentric. This then affects the entire interpretation of our existence. You come back to your question of asking me exactly how would I begin to interpret and look into my essence of being, to define me within the space in which I'm living. I cannot help it to say the definition of me is artificial. The definition of you is artificial. It's what people will accept. It's what people understand that you are. But should you sit with yourself to find out who you are, maybe you are not what you think and what they say you are. And within our own African cultural spirituality, the depth of being is not defined by external definitions of who the world wants us to be. And hence I've always had a problem. People come to me, of course, academically so. I'm well proliferated and well educated in earthly terms. I've been to school, I've been to universities, I've written research papers and been conferred degrees and etc. I also know what it means to baccalaureate, super cum laude, magna cum laude. I know that junk. But I can't define myself in that. Oh, and I'm glad, by the way, when I went to school, I was not a stupid student. I passed well, very well, very well. But I cannot come back here and begin to define myself as to what the external world deems me to be. I need the rites of passage to be able to access certain archives and storerooms of knowledge within cultural spaces which give me certain appreciation of depth of knowledge from where I'm coming from, where I am, and where I'm going. And that I might have digressed, but I think that for me, when it comes to defining the African identity, remains at the core. Knowledge of self, of history, is the only passage into the knowledge of activity in the present and focusing into the future where you want to go. Because then at the end of life, you must ask yourself, why are you here? And what are you here to accomplish? If you don't know that you are here to heal your ancestral memory, oh, you don't hear me. Your forefathers failed. Your father failed. Your mother failed. And you're here. And the history of the repetition of their era now sits with you. The question is, what do you do? Your father was a single mother, father. Your mother is a single mother. Your uncle is a single mother, single father, single mother, single father. You are here. Do you continue the history of single parenthood? To me, you need to come to a moment and say, it stops here. it stops with me. Going forward, I'm going to create a new narrative. That is what we call healing ancestral memory, which becomes very core to the purpose of life. Are you here to buy a new car, buy a new Lamborghini, get a new iPhone 16, iPhone 20, get new clothes, and then what? When the history of your life has been failure in terms of building relationships. 6 of your aunties are back home, all divorced. 4 of your uncles are back home, all divorced. You are a tribe that is reproducing dysfunctional people. And you are here. You need to sit down and say, do I continue the legacy of singlehood? Some of you are Jamaicans and etc. You were slaves and etc. Do you continue the legacy of slavery? Or you can stand up one morning and say, it stops. Backwards, it's like this. From here going forward, we're cutting off this tie. That's consciousness. Consciousness is an African who knows what the forefathers failed. They gave away land. You're here.
Yeah.
What do you do? I'm glad I was not born during the slave trade. I was not even going to make it. I was not even going to make it 2 kilometers from the beach. I'm not joking. I would have been the first one to be killed right at the beachfront. Hell no. Hell no. I'm not joking. I'm even glad I was not born big during the liberation struggle in Zimbabwe. I was not going to make it across. Because from the liberation struggle, I would have simply taken my gun and walked up to every White House. That's me. Because I cannot put up with this nonsense that people that raped our mothers, raped our sisters, killed our uncles and brothers and sisters, we can still walk around and say, it's now democracy. Democracy, my foot. My foot. I'm not built like that. But I'm glad the ancestors allowed me to live in this space, which is semi-this, semi-that, where I'm semi-educated, semi-cultural, and I'm learning tolerance. But all things being equal, you are here to heal your ancestral memory. Say that after me. I am here. Come on, say after me. I am here to heal my ancestral where they failed. I must succeed.
I'll shake to that. Yes, Changambire Maponga, I did tell you you were answering the question, so please never fret. I can bring you all always back on track. Again, the ones that I can remember, I'll bring them back. So how about us here, who perhaps cannot find access to any of our knowledge systems and houses on the continent? How do we find ourselves? As you said, our ancestors are entrenched within us. How do we ourselves activate that memory? For those of us who can't find you all the time, who can't find the Babalawo, who can't find a community to live with.
When you take a coin of the with the British Queen on the head, who's on your coins in London here? The Queen, is it?
Yes. Yeah, well,
now you have the King one. Do you have a new coin? Give me one that has a king on it. I have not seen.
They've not
put
around
it
to him yet.
They've not come out yet. Yeah. But when you take that coin and you throw it in the soil, you throw another one in the sewage tank, you throw another one in the bush, you throw the other one in the sea, and then I say, go back and pick up those coins. Do they lose their value because of where they have been? The value of the coin remains, even the one from the sewage tank still is a coin. Can I tell you something that will mess up your brain? You are your ancestors in the present. Everything that was in them is in you. You are the present of the past. You are the future, which is in the present. You don't need to worship or remember your ancestors. Remember yourself. Because what they were, you are. This whole misnomer of approaching African intelligence and African ancestral knowledge system with a colonial framework of worship, which is based on Christian culture of worship Jesus, worship God. Please, you cannot compare Afrocentric knowledge system to European-based knowledge system. We are not the same. African spirituality is not a religion. It's lifestyle. You can't compare apples with oranges. We're not the same. I am my ancestor. I am my ancestor. For me, it's even worse. My father is Lazarus, born of Munyoki, born of Mara-Rah, born of Maponga, born of Chapinduka, born of Nduma, born of Derere, born of Nduma, born of Mwenemtaba, Fumo Jen, all the way from Guruswa. From the time the world has existed, I have not died. Well, I wish you can hear that in your spirit. From the time the world started, I don't know where, but when life started, I have not died. I've just moved from one body. When you look at me right now, you're looking at the culmination, total summary of the history that you don't even know. If you don't know my father, look at my eyes. You don't know my grandfather, look at me. If you don't know my grandfather, look at the block in my teeth. You don't know the grandfather, look at my hands. Everything that I am is a summary of where I am coming from. I am the present of the past. I want them to sing. That which was in the past is present with you here and now. Now, when you swallow that, maybe this meeting took place in the past.
100%.
If we are children of the same mother, maybe another 3,000 years ago, maybe another 4,000 years ago, maybe 10, maybe 20, we sat in the same hut with our grandmother making some food for us. And we spoke. And we said we'll meet each other in the future. And here we are today. All of you here, we sat in the same village, same house, same hut. Go back a little bit, go back a little bit, and we all find our space in that little house where our mothers sat with us to create the Africans that we are. Now, if your mind can't stretch that far, I understand the education which you were given. But if you just give the spiritual world a little bit of leeway, it may just allow you to say, if I am Mukanya in Zimbabwe, I am Kabo in Botswana, I am Tsoneng in Lesotho, I'm Jambase in Xhosa, I am Dolo in Zulu, I am Fakudze in Swaziland, I am Simanko in Mozambique, I am Piri in Malawi, in Zambia, I'm Rafiki in Tanzania, I'm Kima in Uganda, I'm Kipyegen in Kenya, I'm Gap in Egypt. And these are the great monkey clans within Africa, and I belong there. So should I put all the Kipyegens, the Mkanyas, the Fuzigenas in one room, and this is my clan name, so goes for the elephants, so goes for the leopards, so goes for the hippos, so goes for the birds, so goes for all the other clans. And if we can all find ourselves in one heart where this whole thing of totem started, is it possible that I'm actually talking to my brothers and sisters? Is it possible?
Very.
So when I look at you, therefore, you are my brother. And you are my sister. Understanding of that totemic knowledge system binds us together as a people. Tomorrow morning, when you walk up around town and you meet another black person, come on, gather some confidence and say, hello, brother. Hello, sister. They may not understand, but speak to their ecological intelligence. They'll remember you when they're back home and say, why did you call me brother? And their ancestors will remind them, that was your brother. That was your sister. So within this cosmic, and I want us to stick to this ancestral intelligence again. And give me some few moments.
No problem.
1 or 2 minutes. Artificial intelligence is an algorithm of collected data. We now have a software that is able to go through all the books that have ever been written, all the researches that are available on public media, the geography, the science, and the history, all consolidated into one database. So when you ask a question to AI, Meta, about anything, Meta is able to go through words, codes, names, etc., and just say Munumtapa, and it will be able to run through all names written Igbo. It will go through all the pages that are written on Igbo and Ethiopia, and go all through that, and then take everything that is available in the media and package it on your question and give you an answer. That's artificial intelligence. It's based on readily collected human experience and given in a synthetic way where you're going to be able to understand. Useful information, historically correct. The problem of artificial intelligence, it doesn't have a wife. Doesn't have a wife. Yeah. Young people who are not yet married, you can close your ears. You don't know how to live in this world until you have a wife. No, we who have wife and wives understand what that means. Because then emotions. One morning you feel like you can buy a car for this woman. And you buy the car. One morning you feel like you can kill this woman. I mean, you've never been angry as a young man until you get married. Yeah. There is this thing that comes under your throat here. And it comes here, and it blocks you here when you have a wife who asks you a simple question, so who do you think you are? And you feel you can write a dictionary and a lecture, and before you notice it, temper is written. But this is the reality of life, where emotions are now involved. Artificial intelligence does not have a wife. And I'm saying that in a very philosophical fashion. Artificial intelligence has not experienced to smile in the morning and in the evening you are killing each other. To make children together and tomorrow morning you are driving in separate directions. We'll meet you in the evening. AI does not know how to take children to school and bandage a wound that is broken. AI does not know what it feels when the tears of your child, oh, this is personal, but I'll share it with you. So I separated my first wife, and she leaves me with children, 4 years and 6 years. Call mom often. And one morning, we call her, if you remember. remember it about 11:30 in the morning. She was here in London. We're in South Africa. We call her. Hi, hello, how are you? It's me talking, of course, trying to act like the super dad thing. Hello, how are you? La la la. No, I'm with the kids here. I've just taken them to the restaurant. We're having something to eat. Shami is my oldest daughter. Speak to Ma. Hello, Ma, how are you? La 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 la. They speak their little chittle in chat. And then I said, no, give Taffy the phone to talk also. And then she gives the phone to the younger girl, who was, I think she was 5 then. And then Taffy mentioned something. That's my second daughter. Says, Ma, I don't want to talk to you. I want to see you. I cried. I'm a man, and by no means an alpha male, a very strong man. But I've been to those spaces where, even the book that I wrote, Women in the Kitchen, Contested Ground, that's the time when I was going through that moment, trying to interpret the women's world within a men's space. How do I interact with female energy, but I'm a man, and etc. This is a complex work. It took me 8 years to put this book together. Please take it, read it, and cry for yourselves. But where I'm heading is AI has not been left with 2 children who are 4 years and 6 years. AI has not been told, I don't want to talk to Ma, I want to see her. Ancestral intelligence, however, is the opposite. It says, dig into your ancestral history, support systems, culture, traditions. Connect with those that can support you. That's when I took them to their grandmother on my mother's side. I took them with their grandmother on their father's side. I called my sister to come and support me, and etc., and close the gap as much as possible so that their growth in the absence of their mother can still be holistic and get a bit of that feminine energy within my space. Now that AI can do. AI can do. And I think while we are discussing the difference between AI and ancestral intelligence, and by the way, when you live here, give credit to me. I came up with the word ancestral intelligence because ancestral intelligence has to do with the compilation of your historical past, the compilation of your future expectation and your present existence, and synergized into a functional system of consciousness of how to behave in the now as you are responding to where you are coming from, where you are, and where you are going. And that algorithm is written in your bloodstream. Knowledge. When you see someone that looks like you and you recognize them, that's intelligence. The same intelligence when you pour water on the ground and water knows where it must flow without you telling it where to flow. It will know. That's knowledge. That's intelligence. And I think that in the midst of us acquiring static academic knowledge, we must not miss this ancestral intelligence, where even if I don't know you, I'll get to know you later. Absolutely. But when I look at you, I see myself. That is Zulu. Sawubona. Which means I see you. Not just I see you. I see those that are with you. I see how you have come to being. And because you are, I am. And if I look back, I may just find that what is in me is also in you. Sawubona. And I think this is the love that is missing amongst us as Africans. To begin to look at each other through the eyes of ancestral intelligence than judge each other on the basis of artificial intelligence.
Please, have a drink. I'm not receiving any cues and signs. Me, I can talk all day. This subject fascinates me. You know, I've been studying it actively for 15 years. And I'm also aware, I'll drop a little tidbit in here as we move on, because this also comes down to your tradition. In the UK, we have a world-renowned historian by the name of Robin Walker. And Robin Walker wrote a book called When We Ruled. I'll advise all of you to get a copy of this book when you can. And the reason I'm mentioning this book now is, in this book, he talks about mining techniques. Yeah? Mining techniques that modern-day high-tech drilling equipment used to take out our gold, diamonds, and silver that the Europeans learned from various communities in the Southern African area, because they have a tradition like that of working with the earth. Up till today, most of these high-tech organizations still drilling use the same African concepts of drilling and understanding the land that you're drilling in. So, for me, I think we've come to a place where we see the machine, but we do not see the African knowledge behind the machine. Yeah. Another thing you can go home with: every time you get one of these vaccination shots, that technique of vaccination comes from an African who taught the person who apparently was his master, because there was a smallpox epidemic in Boston, Massachusetts, somewhere in the early 1800s. So every time they give you that vaccination, you think, oh, Johnson & Johnson, GlaxoSmithKline, how wonderful the European mind is against mine. You're connecting with your African knowledge right there. Maybe a bit altered, because again, as I said, don't watch the machine. You need to discover what informed the formation of the machine. Changambire.
Most of us are educated by all lateral means of colonial dictates. We read through history, we see pictures, and we see images, but I doubt how many of us can actually see the technologies and the sciences. When you see the pictures of the ancient Egyptians with the golden teeth, you see them with their ankhs, you see them with their designs, the UFOs. I wonder how many of us can actually apply their minds, because the picture is there. Mummification, for example, where the whole science of how to preserve flesh and bone, together. You have some of those, and I'm glad that land is immovable. The British will have stolen it and brought it to London. But they just could steal the things and bring them here. But I want to challenge you that when you look at some of those pictures, don't just look at them for cosmetic purposes. When you see those golden teeth in the mouths of the mummies or mummies, when you see those golden crowns, when you look at some of those golden sticks that are there, don't just look at them as sticks. Maybe go a bit deeper and say, what mineral is that? How did they mine that? How did they purify that? How did they shape that? How did they know it was that and it could behave like that? When you look at the Bushman paintings in the hills in the southern savannah, in Sahara, and you find some of those pictures that are standing in broad daylight with wind and rain every day, and they've been there for 10, 12,000 years. Still looking, and the paint is not deteriorated. Maybe the right question is, what paint is that? What formula of paint is that? What chemicals are inside that kind of painting? Maybe when you begin to look into some of these things, you look at some of our jewelries, our crafts, and our art, our masks. Look at my grandmother's there, with the whole, stand up, Gogo. Look at that whole, to you it's just a piece of art. That is a breastplate hanging around the neck. But look at those colors. How did we paint them? What do those shapes represent? Nations, pharmaceuticals, diet, members of the body, cosmology, colors of the rainbow. All that put together into a piece of art. I think if you say your ancestors could not read, it's you who cannot read. Because surely at the climax of their education, they were able to consolidate all these theorems that the red that you see there is a color. It has its own science. But the red there represents the blood in your system, which has its color. The red in your system represents a color on the rainbow. That's cosmology. But the red there represents the herbs that are in the bush. That can heal your blood. And it's a not green. It's the forest. It's your gut. It's the art. And purple is the pineal gland. White is the starch, the energy. The yellow is the liver. And you look into the colors of the African art and it stops just being pieces of art that you buy for cosmetic purposes. It is botany, it is biology, it's anthropology, it is anatomy, it is cosmology, it is all composite. We do not write in hello, hello, my name is. But the highest form of culturalization is art. That's what remains when one civilization is gone, is art. That's why when they came to the Great Zimbabwe and they tried to talk to us, one of the British explorers was asked by his investor, so what can we do with Africa? And he says to the sponsor, I'm sorry, the African needs nothing. He has everything. I found them sitting under the trees, playing their drums and smoking their pipes. They are okay. They need nothing. And guess what they bring for us in terms of trade? Shells. Come on, stand up. That thing on his neck, they brought shells and beads and the pieces of cloth to trade for ivory, gold, which we had in abundance. There was no business between us and the colonialists. We needed nothing from the colonialists except fashion for our women. Bracelets, and beads, and shells, which we used to use it as dowry and currency in the olden times. When your daughter is getting married, we would send 1,000 shells to go and marry your daughter. That's how, quote unquote, poor we were. When you need nothing, and all you need are shells from the sea. So you cannot begin to look even into the modernity of business, where you are selling land for pieces of paper and so you've conducted a transaction. You give me a bunch. I saw the other day a video that made me very sick. A whole American factory that is just photocopying these papers. And they're cutting them into the papers. 18 cents a piece, that is $100. 18 cents. That's how much it costs to print $100 in American dollars. A $100 bill costs 18 cents. How many? 18. And then they pile 18 cents pieces of paper. And they come to Africa and they buy 16 tons of gold with papers. Now, if you are economically circumcised, you know how angry you must become. But literally, you bring me a bag because there is a trust concept that these papers are worth so much. But in reality, these papers are so much. With no offense to your British currency, it's just photocopied pieces of paper. You can't sell land for papers. Land is our history. We don't own it, it owns us. From it we came, to it we shall return. Any man who sells land sells the future of his own children. I think they're arguing who must have the most curry amongst us. And I think on a lighter note, we walk to the past to understand the present. We walk to the past to project into the future. And I think I passed one of my most unfamiliar statements on my pages when I said, we are looking backwards at the future. Because until we understand these basic sciences and knowledges of the past, we may think that we are progressing, when in fact, through the loss of language, we are losing knowledge. Mususu is a tree in Karanga, which is a green tree, and your intestine is called susu. If you don't know, mususu heals susu. Now, when you lose language, you're not just losing the language, you're actually losing the knowledge between humanity and nature. You won't know 10 years from now that mususu heals susu. So if you have a problem with your gut, you must eat mususu, because mususu heals the susu. Susu is the upper abdomen of your thing. So language is not just language. Language is a science. Because inside that language is the identification of plants, herbs, animals, and etc., which helps us, therefore, to create an anthropological, sociological, survival technique around our plane and our fields as Africans. Nungu, Chipembere, Mutondo, Musasa, Mutoa, Munanga. Munanga means what? Nanga means go straight. Munanga, Chinanga, that which pulls you when you are walking in this direction and puts. So why did they give this tree this name, Chinanga? Mukanya Kude, the one who shines from far. So what is the use of this tree, Mukanya Kude? When you bath with this thing, you are able to be seen from far. And you look at all this beautiful language, and it introduces you both to your conversation and nature that is around you. Therefore, we are also advocating as farmers of thought, the more we begin to appreciate and understand and use our languages, we'll be able to start understanding our environment and then tap into that knowledge, the science of our ancestors. Modzi means root in Zimbabwe. Mai means mother. Modzi. Mai, the root is your mother. Mo, mother. Zi, root. Mo. Inside your mother is your history. Mo, zi, mo. If you want your ancestor, the first ancestor to respect is that of your mother. Modzi, mo. Modzi, mo. That's ancestor. When you lose language, that entire, and I'm just saying some of the Karanga tribes, the Igbos, the Chewas, the Kikuyus, and the rest of you can go back to your language and you'll find that what I'm saying here, the Ifes, the Hausas, and the Akanis, and the Ashantis, you can all begin to go back and find out. I mean, the other day, I'm a theologian, a well-calibrated theologian, and I'm studying the other day, and they say, Onyame, Kwame, Onyam Koponi, Onyame, Gaye Nyame, and then they came to Kwesi Broni. He said Kwesi Broni actually means Sunday, which means the God of the white man who is worshipped on Sunday, as opposed to Onyame Kwame, who is the God of the Sabbath, a whole new concept of religion that Africans actually knew, which day they were supposed to worship vis-a-vis the day that the white man, and all this is in language. Onyame Kwame, Onyam Koponi, and Kwesi Broni, here is the God we worship on Sunday, and this God belongs to the white man. How do you get lost in a roundabout? There's no corner to hide here.
Changambire, wow. You know, the silence is a very good,
I'm sure they can all hear me though, but for the purposes of the video, no problem. My good brother Shakara, him I can call brother, unlike the other, you know. So just adding to that, yeah, for those of you who are still unaware, again, the African shadow always lives. My apologies, you know, we all know this beautiful piece of, well, those of you who don't know, because I've met Africans who don't know this now. It's called a Colonial. Yeah, you see this little what looked like a little symbol here? This is responsible for one of the richest business conglomerates in the world that nobody even knows the origins of. Yes, and when this drink started, because in this nut are more healing benefits than we can even write on at least 2 sheets of A4. So when they first started Coca-Cola, you see, they always leave you a history there. But if you don't study your history, then you don't know. Not only were people drinking it as a beverage, because you drink it, it's also a medicine. So the first or editions of Coca-Cola were not just a nice tasting drink, it was also medicine. But how many, as I said, I've met Africans who don't even know what this is. We took it to the Caribbean, because in the Caribbean too, it's called busy there. Yeah? So again, we have an African continuum that goes on. And the European also understands, and as much as overtly they might say we're backward, we know nothing, well, there's hardly any invention we can think of that doesn't have a leaning into the African spiritual tradition. So like I said to a group of Congolese, each time we've been saying, oh, I don't like these juju men, this obia man, this, you're laughing at yourself, because every time you've ever drunk Coca-Cola, every time you've ever had a vaccination, you've been blessed by the wisdom of the juju person or the obia person.
And I must recommend to all the men in the house, so that the shops are closed. Please, if your wife is looking for anything in your pocket, she must find some cola nut. You can chew it, it will help you. Your pencil will write much faster. And I hope when you are writing on the epitaphs of your wife's memoirs, your history can be remembered for generations to come. But it will help you to write.
Yes. Changambire.
Those who can hear, can hear. If you don't get it, forget about it.
Oh, wow. You see, I think they're enjoying our conversation so much, still no sign. So, are we allowed to still continue, Changambire? Yeah? Okay. I'll drop one last question in there, which is, at the very beginning, you know, you told us something significant. You said sometimes people wake up in the morning, you decide, today I want to wear red, I want to wear yellow, I want to wear green. And rightfully, some people think this is their own mind just talking to them. They don't know what effect even a simple effect of a particular color can have on people. What can you give us? Your last, be a parting advice. What can you advise, well, for those of us who don't understand this dynamic, what can make them attune to it more?
We are now living in a disconnected society where we don't have an opportunity in the morning to synchronize our dreams as a family. I grew up in the 60s and the early 70s, where in the evening when we go to sleep, we say Ma, which is mother, Aheru. Now, please listen carefully. Those of you who have done a bit of Egyptology, and you've heard Dr. Clark and other people talking, they're talking from diaspora. I'm not in diaspora, I'm on the ground. I'm coming from where culture is practiced. So my interpretations are organic. So in Karanga, when the sun goes down, we say, Ma, Heru. Now, you can hear. Who is Heru? Go back to Kemet. Find out who is Heru. Ma, Heru. We are submitting you now into the hands of the mother, Heru, who is in the dark. That's where you're going to sleep. That's what we say to you when we are saying goodbye for the evening. Ma, Heru. Ma, Heru. Then in the morning when you wake up, Mangwa. are words. Anani. Who is the words from Nani? Because Nani is the tutor in the field of Heru. Mangwa, Anani. Who sat with Nani in the night, in the presence of Heru, and has brought words in the morning for us to talk about. Follow carefully. So when we wake up in the morning, we are consolidating dreams and visions, premonitions, deja vus into the presence of the morning. Then we're able to map up our day to tell, is someone amongst us going to get pregnant? Are we going to have a drought? Is there an army that is coming? Because the spiritual world will have whispered in the consolidation of our dreams in the night. Your question. How do we then begin to interpret this information of what I dress and what I put on and etc.? You are in isolation. Your interpretation is isolated from everybody else that is around you. It would be nicer to hear what you dreamt last night, what your wife dreamt, what your son dreamt. And I want to encourage you, good people, if you're still living in diaspora, try and switch off your TV around 8, 9, have family talks with children, find out what they were doing in school, give them water, give them etc. Don't let them go to sleep with Spider-Man on their minds. Just try and find a place where you can, cut off from the world and just have them for a few moments to yourselves. And have this small little family talk around it. You may preserve and protect and develop your children better. Please take your children to sleep. Take away the phones away from them. Please. Have a vault, if you're like me. After 7 in the evening, you make a meeting and say, all of us, from the father of the house to the mother of the house, let's put our phones all here, put them in the vault and lock them there. And as a family, have some moments together. Eat together, talk together, switch off the TV, eat together. Don't eat food while you're watching TV. Actually set up a table and switch off that damn little thing. Some of you will bring up better families without those TV channels. A child is busy eating. They don't even know what mom cooked. They don't even know what it is they're eating. It can't be. Set up the table, walk up to the dining room. I think from tomorrow, you can try this in your own homes. Hello children, I've taken some time to cook for you. Can we all move away from the dining room, from the TV room? Can we come to the table and let's eat together? Switch off that thing, record it if you can. You'll watch it tomorrow when you come back from school. I want to look in your eyes. This is how our mothers used to know that this one is pregnant. This one is. Because once she eats, she starts puking. And you was all, why? It was a medical station, so it's just about eating. It's about family, it's about connecting. Sit with your kids at least an hour, 2 hours. Talk to each other, eat with each other, pudding up, drink up, watermelon and fruit salads. Find out what happened in school. What is the problem? Dad, tell us where you were. Mom, tell us where you were. Boy, tell us where you are. Son, tell us where you are. And unite as a family. And as mom and dad, as the grade 2 one begins to doze off from the table, take them to the bedroom, set them in to sleep, set them in to sleep, set them in to sleep. Early morning when you wake up as a family, come back to the same table again as we're having breakfast before we run for our errands and say, Mangwa, Anani, good morning. How was the night? What did you dream in the night? Then this one will say, I dreamt this. Then I dreamt this. Then I dreamt this. I dreamt this. In the consolidation of those dreams, you'll find why you're putting on the dress you're putting on. Is it about health? Is it about life? Is it about wealth? Is it about the dangers that are pending? Is it about the history? Is it about the place you're going to be going? Is it the attitude you must be having? This is where the grandmothers, I miss you guys. I wish you could, every home must have a grandmother. Every home, don't send your grandmothers to old age homes, please. Every home must have a grandmother. Because when you tell them what each one of you have dreamt, that old mother with fewer teeth in her mouth, she starts smiling and giggling, or she frowns and etc. Because they still have the knowledge of what all these dreams and visions are all about, and they can paste mangwa words from each one of them and be able to create a story of where we are going. This is how the Neanders, the Kakubis, the Longhouses, the Chawes, the Chaminukas, in our olden days, were able to tell us that a few years from now, we are seeing people coming from the sea. People whose ears are shining with the sun. They neither have knees. They are bringing some coins in the small little book. You walk up through all African cultures, you find that those visions and dreams were told to us as far as Cape Town and as up north as Ethiopia, to the arrival of the colonial system. But who bothers listening to dreams? But who cares when those dreams have become a reality? And now who cries when those dreams and realities have become our pain?
Wow. Changambire Mara-Rah Maponga.
You know what Mara-Rah means? Mara-Rah means rubbish.
Well, this is priceless rubbish.